This is stapling and sheltering for horses and the farm implements that were used. Here's the back of the building and the land in Lincolnshire that the horses and the implements were used on. Rather a nice view. It forms a square and a wall is on two sides, giving wind protection. There's the entrance for the horses' implements. There is the wagon storage. Notice the curved bricks at the side. That's a beautiful touch, gives a little bit extra angle. And this is the stabling. And it appears that it's stabling for 3 horses. And what is slightly different with this is that when you look at the stable door reveal, you will notice there were no stable doors. There's no frame that was attached. This was open and there's a walkway through. The height is lower, and I think that is for sort of human access from the other side, so as you're walking about the building. But the horses definitely were taken out through this door because it's higher and it's slightly wider. This is where the horses were stalled. The original stall is there, so I'm looking at this and thinking, when's it made? And I think it's got to be in the 1800s, probably the latter half of it. Beautifully substantial. There may well be a replacement. The reason I think there are 3 stalls is that there are 2 inclined here, which would give 3 spaces, and the wood structure inside has since disappeared. Beautiful 3-inch bricks have been used. And I've mentioned this in the past on previous videos. They are clay, but there's a lot of aggregate within it. Now these are blown, so either they're a different brick, different area, but you notice these are perhaps harder, fired differently, or they might be from a different brickyard. You shan't know, but it's interesting looking at the bricks. Ventilation at the top, although I think there was, and that ventilation runs through. There is a storage unit that end, which is narrower entrance, quite simple and plain. This, I suspect, is for 2 implements, or a wagon, or 2 wagons. The height looks adequate to accommodate wagons. Quite a vast size. The horses were Shire horses, and I spoke to an 80-something-year-old gentleman yesterday who remembers horses being used, which is brilliant. And 1 horse is able to plough 1 acre per day. And I asked him about the size of horse, because in Scotland I met a farmer there who used horses and told me that the horses they used in Scotland were just the right size. They weren't too large, otherwise they would eat too much. But I was told yesterday that they had the large shires here. And those were the horses, and that was the ploughing that was expected from 1 horse, 1 ploughman per day. He also threw in something very interesting with Ferguson tractors when they were introduced. And in the part of Lincolnshire that he was, working in, one furrow was all they could produce, all they could cut. 2 furrows had to be lighter soil, but 1 furrow. Land drainage. This is now graded, but the gentleman who I spoke to, who's worked the area, when he was laying clay field drainage, it would just be rough sieved gravel. It wasn't graded then. It was they never possibly had the facilities to grade gravel. However, now it's about 2 inch 50mm down to about not even an inch. I'd say it's about 30mm, and that is what is used now. And yesterday the gentleman I spoke to on another project would only use 2 inch 50mm. He said it didn't clog as easily. So there we are, 3 pointers, 1 video. I'll leave you with this view. Look at that. These are machine made bricks, and there's 3, possibly 1, 2, 4 holes which are through, probably for economy of firing. And then when we're looking at the brickwork, it looks, I'll just give you a close-up of the brickwork and the bonding that they used on this. It's quite a tight bond, it's a solid wall, and that's lasted well. Lime and mortar, and these are the tiles that are used. Wonderful overlapping, almost Roman in appearance. Some of the ridges overlap at the gap, these don't, but I'm not sure if they're original. The roof has been taken off, and perhaps the overlapped ridge tiles have been replaced. Final view of the stabling for 3 horses. And then mangers, trough. Incredible.